Hi, welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. I'm Leek, and this is Happy Plants Grow, where we discuss all things nature and our commitment to growing houseplants, veggies, and herbs with lots of love and lots of learning. So if you saw my last video, I did a seed starting mix that I took from Kale. I took her recipe and tried it out. So I have them all. I have the seed starter pots all ready to go. And so today I just want to talk about the seeds that I'm going to be growing this spring. So let's talk about seeds. And I want to first off say I picked these particular seeds because these are vegetables that I eat on a weekly basis. These are like my staples. And I figured with these rising grocery prices, I could hopefully save a little bit of coin here and there if I try to grow these particular vegetables. Let's start with jalapeno and mini bell red peppers. So I'm showing you these together because they kind of grow similarly, right? So they both say 8 to 10 weeks to sow the seed before your last frost date. Now in my area, I'm in zone 7, and in my particular area, Google said that my last frost date was April the 10th. So that would put me at starting the seeds around January 28th through February 11th. So today is February 11th as I'm recording this video. So I'm doing it today. This is kind of like on the age. So they take about 10 to 12 weeks for sprouting. And the jalapenos are 65 days to maturity, and the peppers are 75 days to maturity. So they grow about the same. They grow very similarly. So that's kind of why I'm showing you them together. Next we have Lacinato kale, basically dinosaur kale. That's what I call it. And pole tomato, which is cherry tomato. These also grow similarly, as in you should be planting them 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. So for me, again, my last frost date is April the 10th. So that puts me at February 11th through the 25th. Today's the 11th. Now I could wait and do them later, but I'm excited. So I'm gonna go ahead and do them with the jalapeno and the mini bell peppers. They both take 7 to 15 days to sprout. However, the kale matures in 60 days and the pole tomato matures in 65 days. So, but again, I'm showing you in pairs because they're kind of similar to me. Okay, next we have cucumber and summer squash. I believe cucumber you sow 5 weeks before your last frost date, and the squash I need to sow 3 weeks before my last frost date. So that puts me in March sometime. So I'm not gonna do those today. The cucumber will take 7 to 14 days to sprout, whereas the squash should take 7 to 10 days to sprout. And I think it's on the back. Let me just not guess. The cucumber matures in 60 days, and the squash says it matures in 50 days. Lastly, I have scallions, heirloom scallions, and leeks. Leek, like my name. The difference between these seeds and the other seeds is they say to direct sow, meaning sow them in the thing that you're going to be planting them in eventually. So I'm definitely going to hold off on these, even though the scallion says to sow 10 weeks before your last frost date, which would be today, but I'm going to hold off. Again, we're learning, we're experimenting, we're trying to see. I believe this one is about 8 weeks before your last frost date, but again, they're direct sow. So I might plant them at the same time and just kind of see what happens. So both of them sprout in about 7 to 14 days. Maturity time, 60 days on the scallions, and the leeks, I probably should have read this before I bought them, but 100 days. I didn't know leeks took that long, but we'll see. I wonder if they have a variety that's a little bit shorter, but we're gonna go with this one and see what happens. So again, these are direct sow. So even though these say to plant 10 weeks before the last frost date, and this one says 8, I'm going to plant them together and probably at the 8 weeks before mark. Okay, so let's get into this planting. Like I said, I'm gonna plant the jalapeno, the bell pepper, the kale, and the tomato. I probably should move the camera closer so that you can see me actually planting these. I think I'll do that. I've moved the camera closer and I decided to do a voiceover for this seeding section. So here I'm showing you the jalapeno seeds. They're actually pretty big. So I am just patting down the soil, making sure everything's compact. Now, per my research, I decided to do 2 seeds per cell, hoping that at least one of the seeds will take and be able to germinate. Now I'm gonna push them down just a little bit, just keeping in mind that I will be adding soil on top of the whole container. So I'm just gonna push them down just a little bit. Moving on to bell pepper. Now these seeds were slightly smaller than the jalapeno. And I just want you to be able to see it in my hand. Hopefully I get a good shot. Yeah, you can see they're a little bit smaller than the jalapeno seeds. Again, putting 2 seeds into each cell, hoping the best for germination. And I'm actually gonna do 2 containers of these because I really like bell pepper, and I just wanna make sure I get something that's gonna germinate. Now again, I'm going to slightly push them down into the soil, keeping in mind that I will be putting that layer of soil on top. Kale, my favorite. This is the Lacinato kale, or the dinosaur kale. Now, these seeds, guys, were so tiny, and also they're brown. So I was having a hard time seeing the seeds on the soil and picking up only 2. So I was putting 3 and 4 into each cell sometimes. I'm wondering what's gonna come of that. Hopefully I'm not making a major mistake here. Lastly, we have the pole tomato, which is gonna end up being like a cherry tomato. And these seeds are slightly smaller than the red bell pepper. Oh, I dropped one and I think I lost it forever. But I'm putting 2 in each cell again, same as before. I got everything labeled with the dates on them so that I know when germination should be taking place. And I've got my extra soil, and here I'm starting to put that thin layer of soil over top of each container. And I'm just gonna pat down and just make sure everything's nice and compact. Last step is to spray the tops with a spray bottle. This is to moisten the tops without disturbing the seed too much. And keep in mind that the soil I was using was already moist, so I don't have to worry about watering it for a couple of days. We're all set here. I'm going to put a dome on top of each container to trap the humidity, and I'm gonna sit them on top of a heating pad and under a grow light for about 16 hours a day. You guys, I'm so excited. I really hope you liked this video, and if you did, go ahead and hit that like button. I am super excited to know what you're gonna plant and if you followed along. Also, if you didn't get a chance, go back and watch the seed starting video, and it just shows you the mix that I used. It's the Kale method, so you can go back to my video and see it's a 3-to-1 method of cocoa coir, vermiculite, and worm castings. With that said, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.